Kemi Badenoch, some people love her, some people hate her. Me personally, I think what she's trying to do is actually great, but we'll hear from another perspective today. So Badenoch has been a sensation recently. Many Nigerians hate her. In fact, many not just Nigerians, many immigrants hate her because of some things she's been saying in the news and some policies she's trying to bring into the UK to kind of shape immigration.
Sure.
Before we go ahead, let me just play a video by her, then we'll comment on it.
I didn't start my life in politics. I would never ever have thought I'd end up as a politician. In fact, I grew up, when I was a child, I lived in Nigeria. There were no politicians there. It was a military dictatorship. I love this country, and I think that we are at risk of...
Okay, first of all, let me pause it there. Is it not true? Like, I don't understand why people hate her for this statement. Is it not true that Nigeria is actually a dictatorship the way it is at the moment, even if it's hiding under the guise of a republic? But actually, I feel like what is going on now seems to be like a dictatorship.
Yeah, I mean, like she just mentioned that she grew up under a dictatorship, in Nigeria, obviously Nigeria later converted to democratic rule and all that. But again, like we can't say what is happening in Nigeria is a soft dictatorship, but we can say maybe a misuse of power, actually. So that's what is actually happening now, because I don't even think it's as worse as during the time of the military compared to what is happening now.
Are you kidding? Like, now you can't even speak against the government. Anybody that speaks against the government gets arrested.
Yeah, I mean, like I think freedom of speech is allowed, but freedom after speech is not guaranteed.
But that's what is dictatorship. Okay, look at Nnamdi Kanu and what they are doing to the other ones. Is it Sunday? Yeah. It's the same thing. These people are trying to speak against the government and stuff, but like you're saying that freedom of speech is allowed and whatever, but that's literally what a dictatorship is.
Yeah, I mean, like that's not necessarily a dictatorship, but it's a way to kind of curb how people kind of address the government, because even here you can't address the queen anyhow. I mean, or the king rather, actually. So you can't address the king anyhow. In the United Kingdom, there are rules and guidelines that kind of guide the use of internet and social medias to kind of pass message, because obviously the issue of Nnamdi Kanu was just more about trying to kind of stimulate people to go against certain things, and that could cause unrest in the country. So I mean, I think that's kind of a bit justified, but maybe not 100%, but a bit justified in that kind of sense.
Well, I beg to differ, but let's just move forward.
Losing some of the things that make us great. And I was one of those people who used to scream at the TV and think, why are these people so stupid? Why do we have so many stupid politicians? I'm going to go in there and sort things out. I'm an engineer by training. That's what I did for a living. And I got there and realized that there is so much that needs fixing. I became a minister, a secretary of state, worked very hard, but still people around the country felt let down. And one of the reasons why I think that people do feel let down is because we have not been honest about the problems that the country is facing. And if you look at what's been happening in politics, not just over the last year or 5 years, it's really been a really long time. Politicians like to tell people what they want to hear. And I have a favorite saying from one of my favorite authors, that if you want to help people, you tell them the truth. And if you want to help yourself, that's when you tell them what you want to hear. And so you have a lot of people saying, we're going to do this, making promises, and things never get done. And whenever people ask why, I say it's because they're just making announcements. They're not real policies. Real policies have a plan behind them. It's not just a wish and a desire and what people want to do.
So this is another reason why I think whatever she's trying to implement in the UK is actually really great. Like, she's trying to make the UK better. She's trying to bring, don't forget that a lot of people in the UK now, they actually feel let down. Like, immigration is literally uncontrollable in the UK. So I think she's really doing great. She's a great speaker. I think whatever she's trying to implement as the leader of Conservative, I think it's great.
Yeah, most politicians are great speakers, such as Obama and the rest of them. So someone being a great speaker doesn't necessarily means that they're going to be a great politician, or maybe they have the interest of people at heart. So it's just like someone being a fantastic footballer, great like Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, doesn't necessarily mean that them being a great players doesn't mean that they're going to result into a great coach. So like those are two different things actually. So like if we think about it in that direction, it doesn't necessarily mean that it would be like that she would be a great politician, because all politicians actually, literally all of them, they all lie a lot just to get to that position.
Okay, well, again, I beg to differ, but we can agree to disagree. But I have been searching for a video where she was referring to she was saying that she doesn't want the UK to be like Nigeria, which I support. I think she's right. But then we've got Nigeria's VP, the vice president, that came out on one video, which I'm going to play now, to kind of blast her. Should I say it like that? So let's just watch the video quickly and we'll comment on that.
Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin.
She really denigrates the Nigeria? I don't think so. Like, denigrating something is when something is good, but you are trying to find fault in it. But whatever she said about Nigeria is like, did she lie?
I mean, like, there are so many things that are actually wrong in Nigeria, but again, even talking like that about Nigeria as well doesn't mean that so many things are not actually happening in the UK as well. Like, just like she said, the police stole her shoe or something like, I can't remember. Yes. Like, someone stole my £5 jacket in the UK. So I mean, like, when you think about that, like, you feel like, how can someone stole £5 jacket? Like no fair jacket at that time. So it is just all way ridiculous, like, if you think about it. So I'm talking about many years ago. Yeah, and also, like, if you think about about London, they're stealing phones, things that so many things. In fact, a lot of Nigerian celebrities have been to London, and then they've experienced actually attack in terms of them, in terms of stealing their phones, stealing their wristwatches, jewelries, and all that. So like, it is everywhere. So it rains. It literally rains everywhere. And that's just the truth.
But I don't think it's the British people that are actually doing the stealing in London. I feel like, I don't know, like, I beg to be corrected, but I feel like it's mostly the immigrants that are doing the stealing.
Not necessarily the immigrant, because obviously, like the ones I've seen on the TV, they are actually not immigrant. They are actually the owner of the country, or they are actually living in the country. They are not immigrant at all. They don't look like immigrants, like, whatsoever. So, again, that's to just retains the fact that immigration is good for the UK, and it doesn't mean that it is immigrant that actually committing all those atrocities in the country.
Anyways, let's move forward.
She has even is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria.
So I think that came from a place of bitterness, because I think she was just expressing her concern. The video this man was referring to was one where she was saying that she doesn't want the UK to be like Nigeria, but which I believe is accurate. I don't think she did anything wrong, but I think he was just talking from a place of pain, because why would you say she's entitled to remove the Kemi from the UK? I feel like instead of him to be angry at what she said, he should be actually focused to do something to repair the country.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a VP, don't let us forget. So a VP doesn't necessarily have the high power. In fact, a lot of VPs in Nigeria, we don't really see them. So just like we have the deputy prime minister in the UK as well, a lot of times like we don't even know who the deputy prime minister is because we don't really see them. So the same thing here as well is a VP, but he has every right to defend this country, to defend Nigeria against anyone that kind of badmouths the country, and that's what he just did there. So he has the best interest of Nigeria at heart, whether by his pocket or maybe by his own something. But again, it doesn't change the fact that he has every right to correct that notion that Kemi just projected against Nigeria. So which I support, in my own opinion, 100%.
Thank God that you said that it's your own opinion anyways. But let's move on. There's also this video I really want us to discuss about, which I love the video so much, but a lot of people hated that because of this video, but we'll discuss about it. Let me just quickly play.
Britain is our home. It's not a hotel. It's time to tell the truth on immigration and propose real plans to do something about it. I want to reduce immigration and make living here actually mean something.
But is it not true? Like when she said Britain is our home, it's not a hotel. Is it not true? Because sometimes you just go into a place, you can't even find one white person. They are all immigrants. Like, how is that fair, to be honest?
Well, I mean, like Britain culture and origin actually kind of focus more around immigration. So like, there are a lot of immigrants in the UK, so which they've been keeping the country running. They've been, like in terms of economy wise as well. And similarly, the same place, like, because, people want to work, like, let's say, for example, if you go to other places where there are no immigrants, you notice that there are maybe high profile jobs. I've been there whereby, you go to high profile jobs, there are no immigrant at all. It's just literally maybe just one immigrant, which could be you alone or something like that. So, like British people generally are selective in terms of the types of job that they want to do. So we can't necessarily say, okay, yeah, there are plenty of immigrants somewhere, there are no plenty, because some of the jobs that British people are not willing to do, other people are picking it up. So which obviously is the immigrant that are actually picking it up.
Okay. Moving on.
We need to change the way our immigration system works. So I'm announcing that the Conservative Party is going to do the following things differently. 1. If you want to stay in our country permanently and apply for indefinite leave to remain, the time you have to live here before you apply will increase from 5 years to 10 years. 2.
But I think that's a very reasonable thing to do. Like, if we look at the rate of immigration in this country, is just absolutely too much. So she has to curb it in a way. So I don't understand why people are just like trying to crucify her for that.
Yeah, I mean, like, from my perspective, if you think about it as well, in most countries in Europe, you don't really get your documents straight away after 5 years or something like that. That only happens in the UK. And that's what she's trying to implement as well. So which I think, as long as other European countries are still implementing similar thing, I do support her to actually kind of implement similar thing as well.
He supported Kemi for once. Okay, let's move on.
2. You will have to be a net contributor with a high enough salary, especially if you want to bring family members with you.
Is this not true? Like, okay, tell me what is bad here. Because most of these people, they come into the UK, they don't earn enough, and they start claiming benefits and being sort of burden to the taxpayer. So what has she said here that is bad? Like, obviously, if you're coming into my country, it's my rules and my regulation. You need to be adding value to my country. You're not supposed to be taking from me. So I don't see what is wrong or
actually,
what is bad there.
If we take immigration out of the UK, if we say all immigrants should go back to their country in the UK economy will crumble. And even the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, can actually testify to this. This is not even an argument at all. So now, if you're saying that you have to be a net contributor, you have to think of what are those jobs that British people are not doing, which immigrants are willing to do. I think maybe this should focus more around encouraging British people to take up jobs that immigrants are actually taking up. And this is why sometimes things are expensive in the supermarket, because British people are not willing to work in those firms. They're not willing to kind of work in those areas where immigrants are actually giving all the everything to actually, work for the country and make sure that the economy is better. So in this case, I don't really support this, in that sense, because,
Yes,
but in terms of criminal, and also, it is very hard for you to kind of claim benefits immediately once you enter the country, except maybe if you come through the dinghy, whatever, through the channel, fine. In that case, obviously, that can be curbed in terms of the benefits. But again, they can't leave people hungry, at the same time. So if you say you're not going to give people anything, how will they survive? And then that means that when people come to the country, there'll be high criminal rates. And just like what you should mention here, that criminals are banned. So it's like maybe you trying to kind of say, okay, we're not going to feed you when you come through when you come to the country, we're not going to feed you, we're not going to do anything, and if you commit crime, we're still going to charge you. So that is very, very difficult.
But you are talking about jobs.
Yeah,
you're talking about jobs, but we've seen it in the in the past 2-3 years now that there was a lot of influx of immigrants into the UK, and now even the people that are already in the UK don't even have enough jobs to even professional jobs. So, because I think I was even saying that even doctors, before they used to say that if you want a secure job or a good job, that like job security, you need to go to work as a doctor or as a nurse in the NHS. But now even doctors, NHS, nurses, they don't even have jobs because of the immigrants, because the immigrants are coming here and accepting a lower pay. Meanwhile, the people that are already here, that let's say there is a job that is worth £50,000, for example, that somebody is working, or I am a job that is a £50,000 job, but an immigrant come and tells the company, oh, that £50,000 job, I can do it for 30,000. Because of that now, we are seeing a lot of companies making people redundant, okay, and rehiring these immigrants at a lower pay. Making people to lose their jobs. Is that fair?
I mean, that might not sound fair, but again, if you think about the fact that you employ some people to work, and they call in sick regularly, of course, I don't blame people for calling in sick or whatever, but we know that some of these sickness are not actually genuine. People just don't want to turn up to work, and then obviously, and that impacts negatively in terms of the maybe the productivity of the company. So which again, the company have to kind of think about their own long-term value and their profit as well before they can actually hire people. So they think about their value, they think about the profit that they want to make, and then they're not going to just kind of employ people out of emotions. They have to think about.
Is that fair on the people that are already living in the UK, that now they are now out of jobs because somebody decide to accept a lower pay?
Of course, we can say that maybe it's not 100% fair, but at the same time, the way I see it is that, in the long run, obviously, there will still be a sort of balance around these things as well. It's still healthy. I think the implementation of redundancies, I think, is kind of very high from towards the end of 2023 and up till now. It's very, very high. Quite a lot of companies are actually making people redundant, people losing their jobs and all of that as well, even without doing anything. But again, maybe that could be part of the government policies. It might not be directly about immigration. It could also be part of the government policies, some of the taxes, things like that, they are actually asking companies to pay. So that could be the reason why, things like redundancy are actually happening. Actually, when you think about the bigger picture, think about the policies that they are implementing as well. How is this affecting these companies? Whether companies are trying to cut costs to kind of, ensure that they have enough money to keep producing or to keep, to keep floating or something like that. So you have to think about the bigger picture, in my own opinion.
Okay, moving on.
And if you've got a criminal record, you're banned. 3, if you've claimed benefits or need social housing, you can't even apply.
What I 100% agree on this, because I mean, if you're coming to my house, you should be adding to me, like I said previously. And if you've collected, like you've claimed, because it's people that have not been able to add value to the economy that have claimed benefit, right? So if you've claimed benefit, it means that you've not added value to my economy, which means why should we be getting my documents? Why?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's very hard for you to claim benefits without actually securing, having a proper document, to claim benefits. Maybe it depends on the type of benefit. But what I know is that if you claim benefit fraudulently, then obviously maybe that's what she meant in terms of saying, okay, you know what, you'll be banned in terms of applying, for that, for your document. So that's what I think that she's trying to refer to, because there are some people that claims benefit fraudulently, which, maybe they don't have time to read, but they are claiming it anyway.
Okay.
4. We will increase the time before you can apply for a British passport from 12 months to 5 years, meaning it will take a minimum of 15 years to start an application. 5.
Okay, so I really want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yes, this is really simple, because a lot of people from Europe won't find this kind of new to them, because in support of this, I genuinely believe, of course, I didn't experience similar thing. I'm not trying to say, okay, it must be carried out or it must be implemented. But again, a lot of people in Europe, Spain, Italy, Germany, a lot of people in Europe, actually, even Poland and all these European countries, they don't get their documents, within that time frame as well. Or from the conception of you entering the country, or like entering the country, or maybe staying in the country legally, up to the time that you get your British passport, your maybe European passport, which could be Italian passport, Spanish passport, it takes sometimes up to 15 years. And I think that is what, even 20 years in some cases. And that's what I believe that she's trying to implement as well. And this is a way to kind of frustrate immigrants as well in the long run, because when you think about all these things before even coming to the UK, you feel like, I have to think twice. I'm not going to get my document in 5 years, because people getting their document in 5 years obviously is encouraging people to come in further as well. And, and when you think about European countries where people stay 20, even 25 years before they even secure their document, it's totally different from the UK. So I believe that they're trying to kind of implement similar thing as well in this case, where, just, the aim is just to frustrate immigrant, from coming to the country.
Well, what do you guys think? Is the aim to frustrate people? But let's move on. We just have some few seconds to go.
If you enter this country illegally or outstay your visa, you will be banned from ever gaining leave to remain or a passport. These changes, on top of a strict numerical cap on numbers, will constitute the most robust changes ever made to our immigration system. Lower numbers, secure borders, and an immigration system that finally works for the British people. This is another step in our plan to control our immigration system. If you agree, join us and let's get it done.
Well, in conclusion, I personally don't see anything wrong with what she's trying to implement. I think it's actually fair, because immigration in the UK is a massive problem. Considering that the UK is not a big country like the US or other places, it's just an island, if I'm not mistaken. It's very small. In fact, like we barely even have enough for us here. So the thing that has happened in the last 2 or 3 years, the influx of immigrants causing redundancies and stuff, is just too much. So that's why I personally support what she is trying to do. But again, there are some people like my husband that doesn't support it. So do you have any final word?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, there are some of the points that I don't support anyway. Like genuinely, I don't support some of the points. If we frustrate people actually from coming to the country, at the end of the day, this is going to have a negative impact in terms of economy wise on the UK people. On the UK economy, and things will keep getting more and more expensive. And then obviously there will be some companies that might potentially close simply because they can't maintain, that cost of running the company, or the running cost of that company. Look at the Manchester United that sacked a lot of staff, made a lot of staff redundant in this, in the last month or so. Simply because they're trying to cut costs. So I think in the long run, some of these policies actually, they are harsh, they are extraordinarily harsh, but we have to think about the impact of the economy in every decision that we make as well. So I believe that they might potentially have to review that, or maybe she's acting based on the influence of to gain the backing of the British people, because maybe that's what British people wants to hear. But again, we will find out, these things won't happen anyway right now. It will happen only when the Conservative are in power. So we don't know when that is going to be, whether it's going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We don't know whether it's going to be immediately, of course, except the call for general election right now. But it's not something that will happen straight away. This could take about 10 years before before it even happen anyway. So let's just wait and see. But overall, I think some of them are extraordinarily harsh, and I believe that is going to impact the UK negatively.
So you've heard it from me and my husband. What do you think? Do you think that Kemi Badenoch is right in implementing her immigration policies, or do you think that it is totally unfair and it's a way to frustrate people? Please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can have some discussion. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like this video for more deep dive in the future. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.